Hello again, this is Kristen, and I'd like to thank you for your continued interest in the Coolidge at Sudbury 2, a very exciting property. And I'd like to tell you more about it, specifically the application process and eligibility requirements for the property. The Coolidge at Sudbury 2 is a 56-unit rental community for seniors ages 55 and older. Eligibility at Phase 2 is rent restricted as moderate income housing for eligible households and applicants with at least one household member who is at least 55 years of age and who may or may not have children. All households must income qualify under the current low-income housing tax credit guidelines set forth by the IRS and all regulatory requirements prior to move-in. Handicap accessible units are also available for those needing adaptable features. If you are in need of a reasonable accommodation, please make sure to include these details on your application. The Coolidge at Sudbury 2 offers 3 mobility units, as well as 2 sensory or hearing impaired units. Are you an animal lover? Pets are welcome at the Coolidge. Consult our pet guidelines for details and restrictions. Briefly, the Coolidge allows for 1 pet per household. Pets welcome are either 1 domesticated house cat or 1 dog with a weight restriction of 40 pounds or less. Weight limits are strictly enforced. The Coolidge at Sudbury 2 has a local residency preference for those who live, work, or have children currently enrolled in the Sudbury School District. This includes, but is not limited to, current Sudbury residents, Town of Sudbury, Sudbury Public School employees, Sudbury Water District employees, Lincoln Sudbury Regional High School District employees, Sudbury Housing Authority employees or other municipal employees, employees of businesses located within the town of Sudbury, and members of households who have children currently enrolled in the Sudbury Public Schools or at the Lincoln Sudbury Regional High School. The Coolidge at Sudbury 2 is rent-restricted housing for moderate-income households that fall within the income guidelines for the area under the Low-Income Housing Tax Credit Program. The approved household income limits for our 1-bedroom units are as follows. All 30% units are reserved for applicants with a homeless preference. Those who apply with a homeless preference must provide adequate documentation at the time of the application interview. To ensure that compliance standards are met, the homeless preference requires that applicants produce documentation of some kind from either the shelter or a letter from their caseworker on letterhead to verify their homelessness status. Let's talk about affordability with respect to rental housing. It is important that our residents are able to pay their rent without overextending themselves financially. Because of this, we have established a minimum annual household income requirement for our 60% units at $34,950. Rental amounts. What is my rent? This is probably the most commonly asked question that we get. Well, let me clarify. The rent for our 60% 1-bedroom units will be $1,165 per month. For our 30% units, the monthly rent will be based upon the household's total adjusted income. All rents include heat and hot and cold water. Residents will be responsible for their own household electricity. Should you have any questions on this, please contact us directly. Another commonly asked question when completing the lottery application is, what is counted as income? Well, simply put, any income received from any source in any frequency, meaning weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually. Prime examples are employment income, including all sources of full-time and part-time wages and self-employment, Social Security, SSI, and/or SSDI payments, annuities, distributions from whole life insurance policies, retirement funds such as 401ks, IRAs, and Roth IRAs, pensions, disability payments, gift contributions, monetary or gifts in kind, and rental income. Another question asked when completing the lottery application is, what is counted as an asset? Great question. Assets include the following, but are not limited to checking and savings accounts, certificates of deposits, or more commonly known as CDs, express debit cards, the account values of any retirement accounts, such as KEO accounts, Roth IRAs, and 401ks, money market accounts, whole life insurance policies. Do you own any real estate? Any equity in real estate is counted. Personal property held as an investment, stocks, bonds, treasury bills, and any cash on hand. No need to itemize on the lottery application. Simply include one round figure as your estimated total assets. Confused? Unsure of what to include? No worries, we are here to help. Feel free to call at 781-794-1044 or email your questions to us at coolidgesudbury@peabodyproperties.com. Some important deadlines to jot down. Applications are now available online, on-site at the Coolidge Phase 1 office, or may be requested by phone. There's a deadline date of Thursday, June 18th, 2020. All mailed applications must be postmarked by no later than Saturday, June 20th, 2020, in order to be eligible for the lottery. Applications received after this date will be placed on a post-lottery waiting list. Please note, submission of duplicate applications will result in disqualification from the lottery. Additionally, incomplete applications will not be eligible for consideration in the lottery. We will go over what to fill out, mistakes to avoid, as well as step-by-step best practices on how to properly complete the lottery application. This will be covered in detail in the 5th segment of our video series. Some key points to focus on while filling out the application packet. Please provide your email address so that we can effectively communicate with you. All applications need to be fully completed, leaving no unanswered questions. Please do not leave anything blank. If something is not applicable, remember to fill in NA where needed on the application. All household members need to be listed. All income and assets need to be reported. If you are receiving housing assistance of any kind, you must clarify whether it is project-based or tenant-based. Key points to remember. If you are applying for the Sudbury residency preference, you will be required to provide 2 forms of verification at the time of your interview. Interviews will be conducted later in the process. Additionally, all adult household members over the age of 18 must sign the application. What happens when we receive your application? Once our office receives your application, we will review it, and a letter or email will then be sent out with your status. If your application is deemed ineligible or incomplete for any reason, applicants will have 5 days to remedy this, meaning 5 days from the date an email was sent or 5 days from the postmark date on the envelope of the letter sent. This is your opportunity to complete and or correct any missing information on the application. This step may be done over the phone. Our office recommends that you continually check your mailbox and emails for correspondence from Peabody Properties. For those that do not have email, we recommend that you also keep your postmarked envelope as evidence for your records as to when it was officially stamped by the post office. For applications that are deemed complete, All applications are then assigned an application number, whereby applicants will receive an email or mailed letter stating your application number. On the day of the lottery, a random selection of application numbers will be performed via an online, computer-automated selection process. The lottery numbers will then be logged onto a spreadsheet for application assignment and processing. Thank you for your time and interest in learning more about the application process. We encourage you to watch our next segment in this series that covers the lottery process. Come apply with us.